Hi everyone, and welcome to Wow's card creation today that I've made using the Triple Embossing Technique. So what we've got here is the gold embossing powder Superfine. We've got the Flights of Fancy leaves, as well as the embossing pad Clear Ultra Slow Drying. Now, another stamp set that I didn't bring into view that I will later is Mr. Wow's Wonderful Words, where I'll use the word best. Now, I make this really quick because basically it's repetitive. I've done it 3 times where I've just placed the actual embossing pad directly on the cardstock and excessively spread around the actual embossing powder, and then I heat it. So I repeat this process 3 times until the actual you'll see the embossing powder goes more molten and you can see it kind of move on the surface. So once I've repeated this 3 times, I take my time in repeating the process and making sure it's really hot, good and ready. Now I move really quickly. Once that's really hot, the last layer, I actually heat it for that extra 10 seconds over, and I impress with the stamp and I give it a little extra squeeze here just to make sure the impression comes through. So you can tell when it's molten, when it's really super shiny and it almost looks liquidy on the surface, and then as I peel it up, there is the beautiful leaf. So I do the same process with the rose gold embossing powder. So I've used 2 leaves. I've created 2 leaves from this collection, and I hand cut this out now because it's quite thick. So do take your time. I don't have dies, and I probably wouldn't use my dies, and I was more than happy to use the paper snips for this. So just carefully cutting around the actual leaf and then placing that aside. So I've got a stencil here and some textured embossing paste from Ranger and a spatula, and I'm just using a white embossing paste excessively and just lifting it up. I just held it down. I didn't mind if it moved. I was being careful and quick. Not this quick, obviously this is triple speed time. I was very slow in that process. Once it's dried, I've got a black cardstock base, and I've die cutted this Wishes die cut from Impression Obsession, and I will use the best from that Mr. Wow's Wonderful Words and bring it into view. I've got this VersaFine ink. It's a nice detailed ink. I love this ink, so I wanted to use a nice detailed black ink to coordinate with the intricate die and the black cardstock base. So bringing it into view, this card's fairly simple and can be easily mass produced too, so this kind of style and design. And I have got a liquid adhesive here and placing it generously on that, because the reason why I placed it generously on there is I wanted to make sure it stick to the embossing paste surface, and just placing it down. Now I do take my time a little bit. I've kind of had a little bit of an idea where I'm placing everything slowly. I suppose I just took my time where I was going to put things down. Now just putting the tittle of the eye down, and then just adhering the best with foam adhesive. Once I've adhered that down, I adjust it just a little bit. The multi-matte medium that I've put in that bottle actually allows a little bit of time to move. So I love that, how it doesn't actually create a clear residue. It just you don't actually see, it's transparent. So once I've adhered that down with some foam adhesive just where I want it, and I generously apply glue down on the bottom leaf, the rose gold. I use dimensionals for the rose gold and liquid for the gold leaf, my apologies. And then once I've adhered that down quite generously with the liquid adhesive, I press it down. I actually don't have it into view, but I just place a block on it for that extra couple of minutes, just because I found the gold was curling up. So I've got some black twine here, created a little tiny bow to look like the leaves had been tied together, and it was a hairy twine, so I gave it a little bit of a trim, and then generously apply foam tape all along the back there and mount that on my side folding card base. Now, just to embellish it off, I've got some pretty pink posh clear sequins in an array of sizes, and just placing that down scatteredly, I don't know, scattered on there. All right, so just placing that down, I noticed a couple of, like on the bottom of that W, needed extra adhesive, so I'd added on there. So there's today's card. It's really simple, showing you the triple embossing technique and a striking best wishes card. Thanks for watching. See you later.